Welcome back to the Authentic Human Podcast. I'm Michelle Vickers, and this is part 68 of the story of creation. So, in January of 2025, I have partnered with the creator after he asked me last December to share the story of creation, the origins of human existence that we've been taught have been hidden, right? And what he's saying is, what he, as in the creator, is saying, they're not hidden. That's a lie. And more importantly, this information is vital to human existence. Why? Because you need to know who you are. You need to understand where you come from, right? It's why we are constantly looking for answers. We're filled with questions. And we have been taught and trained, and it's like the way they're showing me, it's like funneled, if you will, down different directions, right? Look at your heritage, look at your family line, look at, ancient humans. But if you look at the history we're taught in schools, the history that is verbally communicated at this stage in human existence, it's very limited. In fact, it's all based on the concept, if you will, that humans are not meant to know who we are. It's hidden. We have to find that information. And what they're saying is that what the creator and why we're doing this story is to help you understand that the secrets of existence are not hidden. They're not kept secret. They're not written in some ancient language. They're not hidden in sacred geometry. They're not hidden in sacred texts that need to be deciphered. They're also not hidden or written on emerald tablets that have been taken in place somewhere. Those are all illusions. They're illusions that were created strategically to ensure you follow this system. You allow yourself to be guided. That's really what's been happening, is you've been guided through these funnels into a place where self-recognition is not present. And that's what we're hoping to change. Because when you genuinely understand who you are, why you were created, where you come from, then you can actually move forward in your life, right? There's so many people right now living in this world thinking they have to heal. They're blocked, that there's problems and challenges that they can't overcome. Why? Why is there so many people suffering from seeming mental health issues, physical health issues, all of these ailments? Where did they come from? They didn't just show up in the last 15, 20, 30 years. They've been here as a result of the conditioning and the manipulation that we've been fed. And the reality is, once you understand the truth, you begin to participate in your own existence in a different way. So when you feel blocked, when you feel misunderstood, you feel misheard or not heard at all, those are moments of significant awareness. Okay? It's really important that you start to pay attention to those moments when you don't feel heard, because those are the exact moments where your soul is saying, there's something here that's not connecting. It doesn't make sense. Okay? Because humans are actually extremely logical. Extremely logical. Our belief system that we've been funneled into is not logical at all. It is filled with lies, it's filled with manipulation, and it's filled with answers that do not answer the actual question you have. What they mean by this is your core, okay, the core essence of your being, your instincts are naturally designed to ensure you ask questions about everything. What does that mean? It means you're curious, and you're supposed to be curious. That natural curiosity, think about children. They're naturally curious. They're constantly asking why, right? Because we were created to do that. And then after years and years of conditioning, and this is conditioning, particularly as a result of the education system, right? Because the education system not only puts you in a position of doing what you're told and only asking questions when it's appropriate, okay? More importantly, and this is what the creator, there's angelics here today, but what they're saying is what affects your self-worth the most in that system is that your natural curiosity, it's like it smothers it, okay? And it smothers it because you will ask a question, and typically in response, you will receive some sort of judgment. Okay. It doesn't matter if you're in kindergarten or if you're in postgraduate. Okay. If you're asking a question, it is because you, at the core of who you are, need information, period. And if someone challenges that question with a demeaning comment, with a judgment of you or why you're asking the question, rather than allowing you, right? So universally, like they're showing me, so universally, when you ask a question, the entire universe shows up to answer your questions. Okay. Whether you're aware of that or not is also the result of the control and manipulation. So we're thick in those experiences right now. Okay. And this is why we're coming up against so much, the way they're showing me, it's like all this rhetoric. And what that means is it's a whole bunch of people's opinions of what's wrong with humanity. Okay. We've recently seen how one event can, well, we've seen this for years now, right? One event, and there's people from differing sides. And typically we see this in any political landscape, right? Where there's more than one perspective. And both of those sides, more than one side even, will choose to outperform the others. And the way they're saying it is outperform is because their goal is to put on a show. It's to put on a show to appease your curiosity, but by the way they're showing me, it's by debunking the others' myths. It's so the way, okay, so these are all the words they're using, but at the core and at the heart of it is nobody's actually interested in truth anymore. Okay. At the higher levels and higher levels of control and manipulation. Okay. So this is the government structure, right? They're not interested. They don't want to share truth strategically. They don't want to share it. They want to continue to ensure it's covered up. So what happens is you've got a whole bunch of people who have been trained and conditioned to believe that any government, right? So any governing body, it doesn't matter whether it's, a government of a country, a governing body of an education system, a governing body of your community, it doesn't matter. Okay. But it's understanding that the governing bodies have been strategically designed to fight, to argue, to be in contradiction with each other. Why? Because that way, no one is involved in participating in truth. So, but here's the other part is it's really fascinating because that's what's happening in those organizations. And then as a population, so any population, whether it is, the people attending that school, whether it's the people who live in that country, whether it's the people who live in the community, it doesn't really matter. But what happens is, as a society, we've been trained that the governing bodies are there to defend, protect, to seek out the best solutions to our problems. Okay? The best solutions to our problems. And they're being very strategic with those words and very specific, because this is the challenge. Okay? So we are at this place where we know something's wrong. We're asking questions. And then we're being told by those who we've been taught have the authority to give us that information. And they're not giving any information other than shaming and judging the other side. So what happens in your brain when this happens? Okay, this is very important, because this could just be a result of you sitting in your doctor's office and asking questions about your health, about your well-being, and you can't get the answers you want. You can't get the resources that you need, that you instinctively you need, and you're told, no, you don't know what you're talking about. No, you are not. Those resources can't be shared with you for whatever reason or other, right? You don't have this reason, you don't have this. You're not old enough, you're not young enough, you're whatever it is. There's always a reason that you can't get the information you need. Isn't that interesting? When it comes down to it, every governing body has been designed at the base to make you trust them and to make you believe that they are the authority. And then what they deliver is information over and over again that tells you why you can't have access to that information, why you can't have access to that support, why you can't have access to that experience. Because for one reason or another, maybe you don't have the finances, maybe you don't have the relationship, maybe you're not old enough, maybe whatever it is. We have been taught from a very, very young age that we do not know what's best for us, that someone else will always know what's better for you than you. That is, that is the moment that we give up our sovereignty. It's the exact moment that martial law comes into play. It's not when a whole bunch of people are running around in military uniform and tanks and telling you where you can go and what you can do down your street. They already did it. They did it the moment that they told you you can't get information that you know you're meant to experience and meant to receive. This is why human existence is where it is. Because humans do not have access to truth, to our origins, okay? Because when you understand the origins of human existence and who you are, which is the fundamental question that every single person has, you do not have, when you have that information, you do not have mental health issues. You don't have self-worth issues, because people who know where they belong, because they know who they are, they don't need for anything. They don't need for anyone. They're whole, and they continue to evolve in wholeness because they understand their own existence. That's what the story of creation is intended to bring back to you. That awareness. And we're doing it in steps and stages, in bite-sized pieces, if you will. Because your brain has been manipulated in so many layers. We can't just cut off the top, open it up, and remove what's not good, right? It's not like, an avocado where you're like, I'm going to take out some of the brown spots and I'm going to eat the rest. It doesn't work that way, right? We have to understand that universal wisdom is layered. It's layered in the exact same way that creation came into existence, in the exact same way that they're sharing the story of creation. The creator didn't just show up and know that the experiences we are having trillions of years later were going to happen, because he didn't plan any of it. He created the opportunity, and you're here to experience that opportunity now. That's why you're here. But you can't experience the opportunity to its fullest if you don't understand what you're supposed to be doing. And this is why they created the grand illusion of work, the concept of work. Because here's the thing. As a universal being, so you're a soul first, okay, in a physical body, having a physical experience. But your soul was created in this universe for a very, very particular reason. But more importantly, it's understanding your role in existence feeds evolution itself. And as you explore who you are, you explore your potential, okay, you're contributing to existence. You're contributing to evolution. And as a result of that, you're finding all of the pieces of you that fit into your story. You're finding pieces that don't fit. And you're moving on. It's a constant state of movement. Movement is one of the 9 basic universal energies that's inside of you. It's a part of who you are. It's a part of your existence. And at this point in human existence, again, they keep coming back to this point. And this is very important. The reason that they're sharing this information in the way that they are is because you're ready to embrace and understand that not only are you a universal being, you are a human being, and you're in this place right now because humanity needs to override the system. That's the words that they're using, okay? And overriding the system has nothing to do with fighting against the system. Because again, all you're doing is focusing on the system itself, the system that's broken, the system that does not answer your questions and ensures you have no access to truth. So, what do you do? What are you supposed to be doing? How do you, as one human in 8 billion, how do you change the system? It's really simple. You allow yourself to recognize wherever you're not getting the answers you want. And instead of getting angry that person or people or organization doesn't see things your way, your job is to discover who does and who can give you that information. The truth is, you have access to the information no matter what. You have direct access. It involves you being in connection with universal awareness, okay? Which is consciousness itself. You have access to that. But chances are pretty good, as a result of all this manipulation, you just can't remember yet how to get in touch with it, okay? No big deal. Because The first step in remembering is recognizing that you do, in fact, have access to that information. It's not hidden, it's not classified, it's also not above your pay grade. Every aspect of existence, no matter what it is available to you. Why? We've talked about this before. We're going to talk about it again because what the Creator wants you to understand is that He created a universe based on truth and based on communication, right? Communication is the vibration of love. If you want to learn more and understand more about all of these energies I'm talking about, truth and love and movement, they're all in believe. Why? Because believe is the answer. When I ask the Creator, who are humans? Why do we have these abilities? Believe is what's in your soul, right? It's a compilation of who you are before you're in human form. And it's understanding right now, you have access to truth, but you're going to have to want it. And this is the most challenging current aspect of existence. Do you actually want truth? Okay. Because our comfort zone as a human race right now is being angry that we can't get truth, angry that we can't get the information. How do we know this? Because when you don't get that information, what's the first thing you do? You either feel bad because someone didn't hear you and someone didn't listen. Maybe you call your friends. Maybe you say, oh my gosh, they're telling me I'm crazy. They're telling me that there's nothing wrong with me. There's a whole bunch of things that these are signs, right? These are signs that you're not actually wanting truth. Because if you did, you wouldn't waste a single minute being frustrated and angry on what they didn't give you. Because what the universe is telling you is that person, that organization, that situation is not qualified to give you universal truth, the level of truth that you deserve and that you're actually meant to experience and receive. And you've become accustomed to that. You've become accustomed to being told that you're not worthy of truth. And now you don't expect to get truth. You expect to be lied to. So much so that when someone does tell the truth, you're not even sure if you believe them. This is the situation that humanity is in. Imagine 8 billion people running around asking for truth, but not trusting any information that they get. How do we change that? That's a big one. That means you're going to have to learn how to trust. But more importantly, you're going to have to learn how to feel. Because in you, okay, programmed into the essence of the energy that is who you are, and that's the exact same energy that created your physical form, okay? It is the most powerful energy in existence. And inside of you is programmed energy that not only attunes you to truth, okay? It attunes you to the vibration of communication itself so that you can ask any question and receive awareness back. It also attunes you to the energy of trust because trust didn't have to be here. It wasn't here for a very long time. It's not one of the 9 fundamentals. The Creator created it only in the last few 10,000s of years, okay? I can't give you an exact number because it doesn't really matter because time and space doesn't exist in that way. But that's not the point. The point is trust was created to bridge this gap, okay? This gap from where humanity was originally created to where we are now. We need to come back to that place of knowing. We need to remember how to trust our instincts to feel. Why? Well, how many times have you had someone who doesn't believe what you're saying? So what happens inside of you? You don't want to feel that, because there's only so many times you want to feel hurt. And then what do? You stop feeling. You don't want to feel. So you start interpreting every experience you have with your mind. So now you're using emotions and you're telling yourself those are your feelings, but they're not. Because feelings are based on energy and truth. There is no emotion in there. The emotion is the trigger that tells you, pay attention here. Something important is coming through. Whether it's you can't trust this person because they're not interested in sharing truth with you, or this person just said something, and although they can't access the whole truth, they have sent you information that will allow you to look deeper into the direction that you're meant to go, to get the information you're meant to get. This is where we are. This is where we are as a human race. We're ready for truth. We've always been ready. We're programmed to exist in truth. That's why it's so uncomfortable right now. That's why people are suffering. People are angry. People are traumatized. That's why there's so much mental health, because we keep being told what we need to do and how we need to do it. And as a result, it's a shit show, because people are making life choices on information that someone else tells them, to only discover, holy moly, this is not the right choice for me. There's massive examples of this. There is no aspect of conscious existence of this universe where the creator created any opportunity for judgment to pass, for it to be held in universal anything. And yet our entire society is based on judgment culture. All of it. Why? So that your self-worth can continue to take hit after hit after hit. Why? Because when you're second guessing if you're good enough, when you're second guessing if you have what it takes, or if you are eligible for that information that you know you need, you're not getting the information. You're questioning your self-worth. That's what they want you to do, to forget that you can get the information. That's what they mean by bypassing the system. That's how you override it, by not focusing on any aspect of the system they've created. Just forget it, bypass it, come over here and focus on the fact that not only is truth a foregone conclusion for you, but you have access to it in any moment of your existence. How do you know? Because you have the question. You have the question. And if it hasn't been created yet, that's because that's part of your soul journey, your purpose, your reason for existing. And you're meant to go out and explore it so that you can write it for the rest of all of humanity, for the rest of the universe and the existence. That's what this is about. You have the power to override the system, but you can't use the system to get there. You just got to use what's inside of you. All you have to do is feel. It's going to take courage, because you're going to need to see truth. And truth is it's not easy to see. It's simple, but it's not easy, because it typically means that you're doing something, or you're participating in some aspect of existence, of life, that is not feeding your natural instincts. That's why you need that information. It means somewhere you're going to have to create change. But this is the kind of change this is the kind of change that will change your life, that will actually bring you fulfillment. What's fulfillment? It's the feeling that comes when you know you've participated in your existence the way you were meant to. It's the participation in something greater than yourself, but also fulfilling your needs at the exact same time in every way possible, mentally, emotionally, financially, romantically. All of those things are fulfilled simultaneously because you're participating in a way that you're meant to. That's where we're going. That's where you not only have the potential to go, that's where you're meant to go. You just have to allow yourself to accept that truth is going to challenge you. It's not hard. It's not hard. And stop telling yourself that it's hard to hear. Because if you're telling yourself it's hard to hear, you've decided truth is bad. And again, that's part of the manipulation. It's part of the agenda. It's not hard to hear. It's challenging your current belief system. Exactly what it's meant to be doing. How cool is that? That's literally the intention of universal truth, is to challenge your current beliefs so you can expand and become more than you already were and are, so that you can step into the next stage of existence. That is literally the reason for humankind. So we can come in and explore our potential. And we do it over and over and over again. How many lives? It doesn't matter. There's no limits. This week, your mission is to get comfortable with truth in a whole entire new way. It's starting to look at it in a way that helps you understand that it is the shining light that will get us out of this. It will get us out from underneath the system that we all think we know it's broken, but it's understanding you can't use the system to fix the system. We have to override it. And the solution is simple, but it takes effort. And it also takes immense amounts of courage from you, recognizing you're meant to do it a different way. You're meant to do life in a different way. And you have the ability to do it. Now it's time to find the courage. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know below, what truths are you seeing for the first time? Where are you scared? Because we'll help. We have a great community. We have an incredible community of humans who we're all seeing truth. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, but when you do it together, you really do get to that place where you can enjoy the process and you can laugh about it, because it's understanding that the more uncomfortable you get, the closer you are to that freedom and fulfillment. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to hearing from you. See you next time. Bye for now.